Boro lose only their second TEES Weird derby in just over a decade with what was undoubtedly the worst performance of the season. What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Project Boro, the reviewing show here on the channel where we of course look through every single Boro game on here at YouTube, and of course they are available on your chosen podcast provider, so do look in the description below. There'll be links down there if you'd rather listen to this on the go. And well, get your Boro bingo cards out, ladies and gentlemen, because this was an absolute repeat of everything we've had so far this season, with no sign of change, no sign of improvement, and it's just proving to me how unbearably predictable we are becoming. And it's predictable in a really, really bad way, because earlier in the season, Boro were creating a ton of chances and we weren't putting them away. We're now at a point where we're not creating chances anymore. And even when we do get good ones, we're still not putting them away. And we are becoming so easy, so simple, so predictable to play against. And there's no coincidence that in the last two games, the opposing managers in Paul Heckingbottom of Preston, Reggie Lebris of Sunderland, have both come out pre-match and basically come out and said, we know exactly what sort of game we're going to expect. And they've not been wrong. Boro are the most simple, straightforward, one-dimensional, insipid team to defend against. And it's straightforward. And I think it was proven within the first half of this game, because pre-match I thought, would Sunderland accept playing at home against Boro and relinquishing possession? Because they've not had much possession in most games this season, but Boro were probably going to have even more possession than that. Would Sunderland willingly sit back, not really press Boro, allow us to have the ball in the backyard and play around with it, dictate play? Or would they want to be on the front foot, dominating the game, coming at Boro? And as I said in all my prediction videos on the Boro Breakdown, on here, on a Sunderland podcast, What the Folk, I said in every single one, it's going to be an open game. And I was fully expecting it, the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, to just be hostile atmosphere. Sunderland come out, the blocks flying, and Boro are absolutely under it. But I think it is incredibly telling that the game wasn't that. And that Reggie Lebris clearly saw that no matter what the right way of playing at home is, no matter what they'd maybe prefer to do, I think it's actually really, really telling that Reggie Lebris chose to not do that. And instead he did what was probably the right thing to do, and that was the template to playing against Boro, and that is sit back, let us have the ball, press in certain scenarios where, our defenders might be under a little bit of pressure, but the first 15 seconds of this game, George Edmondson literally had his foot on the ball, and every single one of the 22 players was stood still. No one moved. And I think instantly from that minute I thought, okay, Sunderland are not going to chuck everything at Boro. They're going to sit back and allow us to have the ball. And do you know why that is? Because we do absolutely nothing with it. It's obvious. We've seen it time and time again, and we normally expect it from teams that come to Riverside who, maybe are holding out for a draw. We've seen that happen a lot, and how much we've struggled to break them sort of teams down. But now we're starting to see it away from home, because it is that clear, it is that obvious. That's how you beat Boro. You can give us all the possession in the world, we'll pass it side to side, to side, to side, to side. We'll get it out wide. Nope, we won't cross it. We'll play it back inside, pass it back to centre-back, right, work it round left-hand side, cross it in. No, we won't cross it in. We'll play it back to Clark. He'll play it across to Hackney. He'll then play it to Dork or Jones. No, we won't cross. And it's that over and over again. It is constant possession, zero penetration. And even if we get a big chance, we're not going to take it, because we had a big chance early on in this game, which, as we've been doing, we didn't take. All you need to do as an opposing coach, player, is just expect that you'll get a chance, ensure you take it. The second you're ahead, just sit deep, keep a nice defensive shape, good solid structure, defend your box, and Boro will not hurt you. And that's exactly what happened here. And I'll credit Sunderland's defending second half. They defended really well, but I wouldn't say they had to. Patterson wasn't tested at all. We were so bad in possession, so slow, so frustratingly slow. And it's getting to a point now where this isn't just a bad habit that you just have to iron out. This is a serious flaw in the way we play football, and other teams are starting to pick up on it. It's cost us 4 points at home, and it's starting to cost us away from home as well. And unless Carrick finds a solution to this quickly, we're going to be an easy team to get points from this season. I've never known a team have so much of the ball and do so little with it. It's getting ridiculous, if I'm honest. But anyway, delving deeper into the game itself, first half we were better than we were second half, and there were a couple of notable things that happened in the first half that I think both teams could have benefited from. As I say, I was a bit surprised by the start in the fact that we were being allowed possession. I was kind of happy with that because I thought, well, we're not getting pressed loads, it's not hostile, it doesn't seem like a tough atmosphere. I thought this will be a lot easier for Boro to settle, but then at the same time, there was another part of me that thought, well, of course, they're going to give us the ball because we're not going to do anything with it. That's the whole point. But we had a huge opportunity early on in the game, and it follows the same script that we've seen in every single game so far. Boro, big chance, fluff it, and it was a cross from Isaiah Jones. It was a good cross, in fairness, good build-up as well, and Tommy Conway has a free header. He just has to keep it down, and there's a big chance it goes in, and he gets under it, hits the bar, and you add that to the long-ass list of terrible chances that Boro have fluffed this season. And there were a few others. Latilaf had a chance later on in the half that he, didn't quite bring down. It was a more awkward one that he chipped over the bar. But as always, it's when the opposition get their chance that it is converted, not with Boro. And this was the start of a fundamental flaw and problem we had throughout the game, which I'll talk about when I get to Boro's 11. But Patrick Roberts picks the ball up on the right-hand side, as he was all afternoon, and I do not understand why this was not picked up pre-match. I don't understand why it wasn't rectified throughout the game. Neto Borges continually let Roberts just tuck in onto his left foot willingly. I don't understand why that was not coached into him. See him on his right foot. He doesn't have a right foot. He's going to want to cut inside every single time. And he ghosted past Borges time and time again. I just don't understand why individually he wasn't better, because he wasn't great defensively, and why we didn't change it to help him out or see Roberts onto his right foot. But either way, he cuts inside, he takes a shot. Edmondson slides to block it. What I will say is Edmondson was unlucky here. It was a decent interception, but it falls to Chris Rigg, who people are saying he takes it around the goalkeeper. I mean, the deflection does most of that job for him, and he manages to turn it in from a tight angle to give Sunderland a lead. And it was the same, really. That was their only real chance up until that point. And you know exactly what happens after that, because it's the same old story with Boro. They get themselves ahead, and we said to each other in the Boro Breakdown chat we have on Messenger, we knew from that moment Boro weren't going to get themselves back into the game, because we know exactly what the opposition will do and exactly what Boro won't do. However, there were a number of contentious decisions in the first half that I think could have both gone one way or the other. The first was a really bad tackle by Trey Hume. He absolutely wiped out Emmanuel Latilaf, and at first I thought it was a yellow card, but on looking at it, I think he's lucky not to be sent off. It's a really hard, aggressive challenge. He's over the top of the ball. On another day, the injury that Lath sustained could have been a lot worse. He luckily went on to play another 60 or so minutes. But yeah, it was a very, very bad tackle. And Carrick pointed out post-match that it because it was early in the game that the ref didn't give it. Is there a little bit of wariness of giving a straight red too early in a game such as this? I don't know. Maybe if his challenge was later on in the second half, the referee might have given a red card. But I think Trey Hume was very lucky to stay on the pitch after that. But, I'm saying that. Would Boro have had any more luck scoring against 10 men? Probably not. We'd have probably still horseshoed it for 80 minutes without having a shot on goal. So, would it have made a difference? I don't think so, but they were lucky, I think, to not go a man down. On the other side, though, I will admit, possibly at the end of the first half, Sunderland could have had a penalty. Mundell, who gave Ayling a absolute horrid afternoon all game, got beyond him, as he did time and time again, and it was softer, but it's one of them where I've seen them given. He does go down, referee doesn't give a penalty. Could have been Could have been. I've seen them given before, but it wasn't. So both sides arguably could have had a big decision go their way, but Sunderland definitely should have had a man down, and they probably should have had a penalty too. In terms of other Boro chances, there weren't any, and we go into the second half where you'd think, Boro being the team behind, Boro being the team chasing, we'd be better, we'd step it up, we'd increase the pressure, increase the intensity. No, it was the worst half, the most frustrating half of just pass, with nothing at the end of it. You know, Sunderland had one opening with a free kick, which hit the bar, hit the post. It was a good effort at the other end, but most of the possession was in the Sunderland half for the second half, and it was just, again, predictably poor from Boro. We could have been there all month, all year, and we would not have scored. We wouldn't have had a shot on target. We were just playing it round continuously. Sunderland were quite happy to sit in their shape and defend, and I think it was clear that Boro were just never, ever going to create anything of note. It was just a repeat of just really, really predictable, slow build-up play that was just not going to ever result in anything. And it's a serious issue for me. I think there's two serious issues that we already knew were problems that I think have just been highlighted and magnified even more in this game. The first is our left-hand side. Now, I'm not going to dig out Neto Borges too much because it's early in his Boro career, and I'll talk about him more individually when I get to Boro's 11, but the issue on Boro's left is a huge problem, and I spoke about this on numerous podcasts in the build-up. Preston had most of their joy down our left. Sunderland got their goal from down our left, and we're still operating in a way to which the left-sided winger ahead of the left-back for Boro always roams inside. It was Finnazaz today. It's the Riley McGree role for me, and if McGree's not playing, you don't play your left winger in that manner, but Carrick insists that's what he wants his left winger to do, and that's always going to leave our left back exposed down that right-hand side, 2v1, and although I will absolutely 100% say that Borges did not do enough defensively today, I feel like we are giving up way too much on our left-hand side, and we're not balancing that off, offsetting that enough with what we're doing at the other end. I think we need to really look at that area of the pitch, and we need to lock it down somehow. I think maybe when McGree's not playing, we have a more natural-sided left winger to come back and help Borges, because Jones would come back and help Luke Ayling, who still struggled today against Mundell, but when Jones would come back and double up, we were much more solid on that side. But yeah, on our left, teams are having way too much joy. It's obviously an area they're targeting, and they're getting joy from it. The second is obviously our attacking numbers. Now, we have massively underperformed our XG, which, you know, is a sign that once upon a time we were creating loads of chances, and once upon a time we were looking really threatening. However, I'd say both this game, the Preston game, and the Cardiff game, the last three, we've not been very creative at all. We haven't had that many shots on target. Don't get me wrong, we've still missed glaring opportunities, but we have slipped right into, I think, a place where we've been found out a bit, and teams are happy to just sit back and defend. And our inability to break down low blocks was already a thing last season, but I feel like it's getting highlighted even more this season, and it's costing us. It's costing us massively, and Michael Carrick has to find a fix for this soon. He really, really does. I think there's a mixture of playing with natural width, playing with natural wingers, stretch the play wide, so you're pulling their defence apart as much as possible. Have two out-and-out wingers on either side with chalk on their boots, and we've got to up the tempo. We are playing so slowly, it's a joke. It really is. It's so insipid and dull and boring and predictable, and he's got to find a fix for this, because I get he wants to make Plan A better, but something needs to be tweaked or turned up or something, because, as I say, managers are coming out and saying that they know what game to expect from Boro, and you can't disagree with them. It's predictably excruciating and frustrating. So looking at the Boro lineup, because nothing of note happened in the second half, by the way, nothing. The only thing that did happen, actually, pre-match, and this is how predictable Boro are, I put a bet on that Sunderland would win and Roberts would be included in the goal, and that they'd get more yellow cards than us. and I won. First bet I've won in about 2 years. That's how predictable Boro were. So that was a good thing. A slight silver lining, you could say. But as for the Boro team, a lot of poor performers out there, and you can see by the ratings here on FootMob, they massively outperformed us, really. What I will say, there's the same repeated running theme all season long. Dieng, Edmondson, Clark. The goalkeeper and the centre-backs, again, are not at fault for conceding goals or anything like that. They've barely made, apart from a howler against Portsmouth, I wouldn't say Dieng and the centre-back pairing, whoever it's been, have been that bad at all this season. They've been let down from what's happening around them. So I've got nothing against the centre-backs or Senny in this case because he didn't have a save to make. Again, however, our full-backs had a torrid day. Luke Ayling really struggled up against Mundle. It is a worry with Ayling that, he does struggle against tricky wingers. That's where you need your right winger to double up and help him out, which Jones did at times. However, that was not the case on the left-hand side. As I say, our left winger is going to be roaming inside, so Azaz barely ever really was there to help Neto Borges, who got tortured by Patrick Roberts. And it wasn't even a case of Roberts just doing him over and over. Borges did not help himself. As I said, why did he keep letting Roberts cut in on his left foot? I mean, it's so predictably obvious. But even when he did, Borges just didn't really keep up with him. He struggled time and time again. So the full-backs were a huge weakness for us today. The midfielders weren't that great either. Aidan Morris, I think, at times made some really good interceptions, read the game really well as he does, couldn't really get into it going forward. However, unlike what FootMob has said here ratings-wise, Hayden Hackney had a really, really poor game today. He was really bad in possession, his passing was way off, and I think at times going forward, he was trying to force the issue, but his passing and his attacking contributions today were really, really poor. He had a really, really bad game, and the whole attack was completely off it as well. Conway wasn't in the game all that much, had a glaring opportunity that he missed, both on the left and right. Isaiah Jones was not in the game at all. I don't remember him doing anything. Same with Azaz, completely ineffective in a game which I thought he would do better in, but both wingers were ineffective, and I think they've opened up a real opportunity for them to be dropped at this stage. And Emmanuel Latilath, I know he got crunched early on, but he was subbed off for the second game in a row, and he looks nowhere near the player we saw at the end of last season. And I agree, and I know there's going to be the narrative of, Ipswich, his head's been turned, this, that, and the other. I'm not going to buy into that. I just feel like his form has fallen off a cliff. And, that striker, that prolific number 9 that was ripping the league to bits last season, he looks a shadow of his former self, if I'm honest. And there is an argument that 3 of the front 4 could be dropped. You might move Conway up, could put Azaz in the middle, bring McGree in. I think either way, McGree has got to be brought back in. He's been back now on the bench for 2 games, hasn't come on, and I think it's time to bring in Doak for Isaiah Jones. I didn't want to see that happen straight away because I think Doak has to show something first, but other than today being a day where I thought we needed Isaiah Jones to help out more so defensively than offensively, Doak did more than Jones going forward in the first 5 minutes of it being on than Jones did the whole game. So I know Carrick has kept the majority of the same 11, but I think we are at a point now where changes need to be made because there are players in that team now that are fundamentally out of form and they need to be brought back in or taken out the team before they're brought back in, and other players deserve a chance. Substitutes-wise, I say Ben Doak come on, looked bright to start with, but didn't really get going much after that. Hamilton, I don't get why he was brought on in favour of Riley McGree. Didn't have any impact in the game, really, and neither did Bergsorg. 15 minutes to go. As I say, I'm not going to look at the table until 10 games in. What I do know is we're 7 points behind Sunderland now. They're top of the league. And I think still, league position isn't really all that important at this stage. But what I will say is our points dropped is a worry. We've dropped so many points that we shouldn't have. We've not come back from the international break and kicked on like I hoped we would, like we needed to. I predicted that we needed 9 to 10 points from this block of games. We've got 1 from 2, and that we needed to be operating somewhere in and around 2 points per game. That's the only thing I care about right now. It's not league position. It's how close are we to that elusive 2 points per game, and we're slipping behind it at this point. So Michael Carrick has a job on his hands because next up is Stoke, and they've got a new manager. They were blown away by Hull, didn't look great on Friday night. It's a must-win, I think, because going to West Brom, I have no hope whatsoever. They're such a good defensive outfit. I can't see Boro getting anywhere near West Brom. And then you've got one game left, which is Watford. Boro are entering a spell now where we simply need to start picking up results consistently, and we need to start seeing improved performances, because at least before, we were creating enough chances and we were just missing them. And you'd say, right, we just need to find our shooting boots and convert. Now, we are looking really, really blunt. And it says a lot that in the second half here, Boro didn't have a single shot on target. And this is another stat that I think is embarrassing. We've had one goal from open play in 6 games. One goal. And that was Conway's against Preston. Every other goal has either come from a set piece, a corner, or has been an own goal or a penalty. So, yeah, Boro have got to sort themselves out sooner rather than later. It's not obviously time to overreact because it's only 6 games in. Long way to go, yes. But there are certain bad habits and things that are slipping into this team that need to be ironed out quickly. Players need to be moved around. And Carrick needs to find a way of penetrating defences and getting Boro into better areas and taking advantage of them areas more so. So that's my thoughts on this game. A really, really, really poor performance by Boro in a game that was tight. It was a tight game. You know, there was not much between the two sides. They had 2 shots on target to our 1. The XG, there wasn't much between either. It's a similar story in terms of Boro conceding from the very few chances they give up. But going forward today, we were absolutely unforgivably bad. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. We're going to obviously move on and preview the upcoming game against Stoke in midweek. But that next week is a massive, massive game for Boro. So let me know your thoughts on Boro currently and what you feel like needs to be sorted out and changed and fixed in the comment section below. Like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe, and hit the bell too so you never miss when we drop a video here on the channel as always. And if you're listening on the podcast providers, do subscribe and of course follow me and rate me over there. But until next time guys, thank you so much for watching. Oh god, I can't wait to go on holiday in a few weeks and have a bit of time away so I don't have to talk about this godforsaken football club. See you next time.